So the big question is, who were the first people of the Yachats and Cape Perpetua area?
Well, I just want to apologize for putting everybody at a late start today. Every time I have a little bit of an ailment, I feel really sorry for myself, and had a little bit of that going on today, so apologize. Referring to the original people here, if we go back to our ancient stories of the people in this part of the coast, I am a Siletz tribal member, but my native ancestry is from the Rogue Valley country and Upper Klamath River, Shasta and Applegate River Athabascan ancestry. But in my position, I've had to school myself in all of the other tribal traditions of our confederation. And when we go back to our ancient stories from this area, the story of the origins of the Yaquina, Alsi, Yachats, Siuslaw, or Umpqua people, they all recognized each other as having a common ancestry, a common origin. And even though the linguists, for the most part of today, maybe Patty's not of exactly the same mind as the mainstream linguists, but they don't recognize those people as all speaking a common language, even though in that story of origin they say we are all one people, we speak one language. So that's such an ancient story that there was enough dialectic divergence had come to exist over the many thousands of years, probably since the beginning of that story being told, that linguists today don't recognize those languages as being that closely related. So, right here at this spot, it was the Yachats people. To the north, they had the Alsi and Yaquina, and to the south of them, their relatives, the Siuslaw or Umpqua. And right here at Yachats, we had one of the tallest, biggest recorded shell middens of the Oregon coast, and there were many fairly large ones, but this one was, what, 28 feet or so?
I know, it was very, very large.
Yeah, very large. And as with most of the coastal middens, especially the large ones that were in one big deposit, they could back a wagon or later on a dump truck up to them and scoop a bunch into it and haul it off for garden fertilizer or for road surface or other uses. And many times artifacts were being mined out of those places as that was going on. So that's been a big wound in our tribal communities for a lot of years. Did you find the audience what midden is? Well, there's different types of midden, but generally you'll see a lot of concentration of seashell there, a lot of mussel shell, sometimes clam shells from on the bay or ocean beach. Sometimes we've seen midden that were, when you first clean off the surface of it, it's just absolutely purple with sea urchin shell. But then within a few minutes, that sea urchin shell all bleaches out white in the sun. And some of them are just almost entirely sea mammal bone, because that's what their purpose was, a sea mammal hunting camp or butchering camp after returning from the offshore rocks and doing the hunting. So there's different purposes for them. They have slightly different looks to them at times, just based on the use of the place. So usually dark soils, and the thing that concerns us a lot is that there's very sensitive resources there, and often cemeteries associated with them. So I know this is being recorded, and a lot of times we don't talk about these things, but if we don't talk about them, then people don't know to stop and report it to the State Historic Preservation Office so the tribes can be contacted and take care of these things properly when they come up when a house foundation is being excavated, utilities being put in, all of those kinds of things. And we've had those same situations here over and over in the Yachats area over the past few years. Some of it on state parks land.
So. Is this the time to ask a question, Joanne, or should I?
Is that okay? We just open it up to questions, or we can drive away?
I'm fine with it as we go along.
What I was wondering, was it just the Graamans Indians that worked with shell milling? Did other tribes come from other places to do their summer gathering?
There would have been, home people would have been the primary users, and of course there was dances and ceremonies and different things that different communities would host up and down the coast, and they would invite their relatives and friends from other villages, and so out-of-town people would be coming and using the resources too, but it was pretty much always by permission of the hometown people, and really they wouldn't be gathering their own and preparing their own. They would be hosted by the home community, and extra resources, mussels and fish and things would be collected and prepared for them. So our traditional economy was very strict about protocols of using other people's resources. You asked permission, you paid maybe part of your catch you gave to them in payment for kind of incurring into the area. Does anybody have anything to add to all that?
Want to talk about language? Yeah.
You're probably aware of the photographs in the Florence Library about the shell middens, showing how high they were, and I believe there is an actual photograph of the midden that was on our point. And I'm not sure if you've seen that, but in the Florence Library there are some very old photographs, and they explain where all the middens disappeared to at the turn of the century when they were used up for concrete and all hauled away. But it's sort of a blurry photograph, but it shows you how large that midden
Is that the city library or in the Pioneer Museum?
Yeah.
City library?
Florence.
Yeah, but in the city library or in the Pioneer Museum library?
The city library.
Okay. Yeah. I know that there's quite a few historic photographs of the midden by the Adobe Motel at Oregon Historical Society, but I haven't seen the ones at Florence, so thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I think I've seen photos like that before. Just, you know, when you see a big midden like that, you figure the people were living there a long time. That was many, 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 many years worth of the remains of people's feasts, you know, of processing of clams. Well, yeah, it's the garbage bin. But you know, even those garbage, for an archaeologist, garbage tells a story, because you know, as you take cores through that, you can determine the age, what people were processing there, so it gives you a window into light, you know, in a particular moment in time, what kind of resource people were using there. And you know, middens can contain different things, so it tells you, okay, well, this camp, they were processing this, and this camp. So they, you know, to someone who's trained, you know, those middens, they can tell a story. But